Welcome back, guys. So in this video, I'm going to be going over Bitcoin and what is it? Is it a bubble and should you invest in it? Now, for those of you new to my channel, I tend to go over a lot of topics that relate around tech, investing, and just overall try to educate people on financial literacy to know what to do with their money in the future. So if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure to subscribe and stick around. All right, enough talk. Bitcoin. Let's jump right into it. All right, so for those of you who don't know anything about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the world's first digitalized currency. It is completely decentralized, meaning that there is no corporation, bank, or country behind its valuation and able to control how Bitcoin is used. It is completely decided by the individuals of the internet, and its value is also corresponded by everybody on the internet. So what that means, in forms of a currency. So Bitcoin can be transferred directly from user to user with no limit, with no minimum, with no anything, no restrictions on the transactions. And every single transaction can be done without the need of a bank or any other third party overseeing that transaction. So for example, if I was living in Sweden and I needed to send my family money over in the US, I would have to, one, take my crown from Sweden, convert that into US dollars, get a fee for that, ship it from Sweden to the United States, and then there would also be another fee for the intersecting bank in America to then to give that transaction to then my family. With Bitcoin, I can just decide, okay, I'm going to send my family whatever, $5,000 worth of Bitcoin is at this given time. So say if it's like 0.02 Bitcoin or 0.2 Bitcoin, I'm going to send my mom 0.2 Bitcoin all over the internet, and then she will almost instantaneously receive that money that she can then go convert either into Americanized dollars, or she can then use that Bitcoin to go and purchase whatever she needed the money for. So it kind of is a revolutionary way in the sense of it now takes out the need for banks in currency, which is kind of groundbreaking, and that's one of the main reasons why there's so much hype behind it. Another reason why there's so much hype behind Bitcoin is because of the blockchain. Now, what a blockchain it is pretty much a general ledger of every transaction that goes on the Bitcoin network. So this is where miners come into play. Whenever I make a transaction, and whenever anybody makes a transaction involving Bitcoin, there are miners that will then verify that this has happened over on the network, and it will make a list of every single transaction that has happened with the exchanges of Bitcoin, so that way everybody else on the network now has public record of it. So that means that if I then, say, buy something for 500 Bitcoin, the person who I bought it from can't then try to say that, oh, you actually needed to send me 600 Bitcoin, but you didn't deliver it to me, because now everybody on the list has that as record. So this is great because it completely negates the need for any policing, because it is everybody on the blockchain in and of itself is policing one another, and no one can have a faulty transaction without everybody on the Bitcoin network or on the blockchain agreeing with that transaction, which is nearly impossible to do unless you have, a supercomputer the size of, like, say, the US. You need an immense amount of computing power to do anything like that. But anyways, the main key and the main tech behind Bitcoin is this technology, which is blockchain. So in addition to Bitcoin, there are thousands and thousands of other cryptocurrencies that all have their own little niche for what exactly that cryptocurrency was designed and programmed to do, or what system it was designed to help out. However, the two most notable ones would probably have to be Ethereum and Litecoin. Now, both of them have their own, again, niche in a sense. For example, Litecoin is very similar to Bitcoin, except it is much faster. So Bitcoin and Litecoin both have a limited amount of coins that can ever be total in circulation. And the longer they are around, the more and more coins get mined. And the longer that the mining progresses, the harder and harder it is to produce more coins. So that's a very, juvenile breakdown of it. I'll link a video here to a channel called Ivan on Tech. He does a really good breakdown on different cryptocurrencies and everything like that, just, for people that want to learn more about the tech, but that's the gist of it. And then you also have Ethereum, which is kind of like the blockchain 2.0. It introduced smart contracts and an overall new protocol for programmers to really have this entire new ecosystem that they can just develop programs for and then utilize blockchain in, companies' individual, applications. So for example, Microsoft has actually been starting to implement Ethereum into their Azure cloud-based computing because they believe that the blockchain technology is something that will be extremely valuable and useful in the future. So, enough of all that. Well, what does this mean? Should I invest in it? Is this big hype? Yada, yada, yada. Oh, it's a tricky subject, and I know that some people are going to completely disagree with me and have valid points, and some people are going to completely agree with me and also have valid points. This is a very touchy subject, and in my opinion, no one who has any strong opinion one way or the other should be taken as accurate because no one knows. Like, is the price going up dramatically? Yes. Is there, mass adoption of cryptocurrencies? Unfortunately, no, not yet. So that's where a lot of people come in and is like, oh, it's a bubble, there's no real value to it, you can't invest in it, things like that. I'm going to just kind of give my 2 cents on it. So, Bitcoin has gone up, tens of thousands of percent in the past few years. Just when I first started college, Bitcoin was around, $150 to $300, and a month ago it was double topping at $20,000 a coin. So it's had massive growth, and so have all the other coins. For example, Litecoin, when I first looked into it, was at $82 a coin, and then that skyrocketed up to like $360, and right now it's skating around like $220 to $240. It's completely ridiculous, and the prices are extremely volatile. But what does this mean for the person who either wants to get on the action or, if you want to just be a bystander and kind of watch what's going on? So, a lot of digital currencies are getting referred to as digital commodities, mainly because there's a finite amount of them. There is no direct, as of right now, there's no direct value in owning that currency. Same thing as if I own gold. If I own gold, the only real value that this does to me is, well, I'm going to buy it now, assuming that someone in the future is going to want to buy it at a higher value, and then that's how I'm going to make my money. And as of right now, that's all that owning a individual Bitcoin or a Litecoin or, a piece of Ethereum, anything like that, is really all that you're hoping for. Now, do I believe that the blockchain technology and the real backing behind all these cryptos will be, here to stay and will revolutionize many industries, if not everything? Yes, I do believe that in, 5 to 10 years, once the world is ready to fully implement this, I think that this would kind of be looked at as, some people are calling it like the Internet 2.0, or, just switching from one protocol to another, just adding in so many different avenues that people can create content, secure, and make their programs better. I think that from a tech standpoint, that is amazing, and I'm really excited to see where that goes in the future. That being said, I think it's a little... I personally do believe it's a little bit in the bubble territory. Mainly because it's kind of what you saw in, 1990 to 2000 with the dot-com bubble, is everybody knew that this was going to be groundbreaking. And it is. It's going to be groundbreaking, but people started to throw their money at it before the actual implementation started. So what that means is that you have a lot of people that have been sitting on, say Bitcoin for a couple of years now. They have had, tens of thousands of percent returns, and at any point in time, they can sell and completely tank the entire system with no real backing as to why this value should stay there. The technology is amazing, but the technology is amazing and it's going to be implemented regardless of what the price of the coin is. Like, you don't need Ethereum to be at, $5, $1,000, $600, whatever. You don't need Ethereum to be at any certain price point to use its technology, which is why I'm not sure I don't know how to gauge the real cutoff for how these cryptocurrencies should be valued. And I personally don't think anybody can, because it's all completely opinionated, and it's all depending on what the next person down the line is going to say for you. So, that's kind of my little skeptic view on it. But for those of you who really want to get involved with it, I do think that there is still money to be made in the short term. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have thrown, say like 10% of my portfolio at Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. I'm not really into Bitcoin Cash, and I don't believe in really... ICOs are too risky for my taste, but I believe that there is a lot of hype and a lot of money being flowed into the cryptocurrency sector. So I've put a small amount of my money as a speculation, not as an investment, to just kind of see what happens. And, from that, I've had ridiculous returns. Like, I got into Bitcoin when it was around $7,000 a coin. I got into Ethereum when it was around $250 a coin. And I got into Litecoin when it was around $82, $84 a coin. So I've had some pretty massive gains, and from an investor, those are ridiculous and they shouldn't exist, which is why I'm kind of terrified, because anytime that in history there have been, people have made money easily, bad things have happened for them and generally for the people that get in on the tail end of it. So I don't know, like, do I think Bitcoin's going to pop, the whole bubble's going to pop, and the whole crypto market's going to crash in, like, say, within a year? No. I'm more so terrified that whenever there's an economic downturn and anybody gets afraid and they need their money back, everybody's going to look at their wallet and think, oh, well, I either lost my job or my salary got cut or I don't have a raise this year, I don't get a bonus, whatever. A lot of people are going to look at that money that they wanted to ride or hold till die or hold on for life, and they're going to realize that, oh, I don't make a lot of money, but now my Bitcoin has gone up, 30,000%. I can sell this, and it's as if my life didn't get affected by the recession. And I think a lot of people are going to be very tempted to sell their cryptos the second that there's a downturn, and that's going to crash the entire market. And I think a lot of people, generally the smaller investors that are throwing in, pretty much all of their investment portfolio into cryptocurrencies, are going to get hurt really bad. So that's my, bit of a realistic, pessimistic, optimistic look on things. Like, I do think blockchain, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and Litecoin, I do think they're here to stay. I don't know if their valuation is correct. Like, on the flip side, like, just because I think that it's a little, the price gain is, kind of been irrational, that doesn't mean that it can't keep going for, a decade, or it could never stop, or things like that. Like, at the end of the day, it has less than $1 trillion market cap, and if you look at, say, gold has over, I think, a $12 trillion market cap. You can, if you compare it apples to apples, it's very undervalued, but it's just so new and no one knows what it does, which is kind of the fun and the terrifying thing about it. So, all in all, that's just kind of my 2 cents. Do I think you should throw money at it? If you're into gambling and you're into really risky stuff, yeah, take a small, I would recommend, and I'm not a financial advisor, this is just my opinion, I would say take, 5 to 10% of your portfolio, equally distribute it on, say, Coinbase between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash if you're really interested in that. And, just kind of ride it out. You can slowly add into those positions. You can just wait until there's a massive dip in the market and then put your money in. Or you could just put it in there and just kind of wait a while and see what happens. I do think that there's a lot of money to be made, and I don't think that the bubble, per se, is going to be popping easily within the next, 6 months. I totally do not see that. Could be completely wrong, but I think all in all, the crypto market is relatively safe as long as the economy is going well. And with more and more adaptation, more and more fuel is going to be driven to the crypto market. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm sure a lot of you are going to flame at me in the comments, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to have different opinions on this different opinions of this than me. So, just throw them down there. If you dislike the video, if you don't like my opinion on things, if you think that, my breakdown of the tech behind it was too, I say, novice for, the average individual, educate me and people down in the comments. I'm not a programmer. I'm a big tech geek and, have a background in tech, but I'm not a programmer, so I am not going to say that I fully understand everything about it. I think I can grasp it, but I do not know all the ins and the outs of everything to do with blockchain and other cryptocurrencies. So, let me know in the comments, what's your opinion? Are you guys invested in Bitcoin? What are your massive returns? Have you lost any money in Bitcoin? I know a couple of people that jumped in at 20,000 and now they're just kind of riding out to see where it's going to go in the future. Yeah. So if you like that, stick around, like the video. If you didn't, dislike it, subscribe, all that. All right. Hope you guys liked it. Peace.